Greetings all! Today, we will be examining the common normal or dark normal type Pokemon Rattata and its relatively uncommon evolution Raticate, collectively known as the Mouse Pokémon. While they might be incredibly commonplace and seemingly of little consequence, the members of the Rattata family are fierce critters that can more than put their sharp fangs to good use to whittle away and bite through anything that dares to confront them. Rattata possess small rodent bodies with purple fur on the upper part of their body and beige fur on their belly, mouth area, and the 3 toes they have on each foot. Their tail curls up into a spherical shape at the end, and their ears are fairly large for their form, with a pair of beige whiskers adorning their face. Their eyes are a bright red color, and their mouth is often ajar on account of the large pair of incisors in their upper jaw, which tend to stick out over their lower lip when they close their mouths. Their Alolan variant has a similar body form, but instead of purple hair, their primary color is black, and there are barbed hair extensions at the ends of their tail and ears, plus the whiskers are different in form, forming a pair of small bulbous extensions near the base of their small nose. Their evolved form, Raticate, possess larger body forms with a beige belly and mouth area and brownish-orange fur that covers the rest of their form. They have the same general limb and digit structure as their pre-evolved form, though their toes are slightly webbed, but their tail has become quite long and thin, being a beige color, and their eyes have become a black color, their ears being more well proportioned in terms of size in this form. They have 3 pairs of whiskers on their face, and their mouth is almost always agape as a result of their massive upper and lower incisors, which keep their mouths from being completely closed. Their Alolan variant has the same general body form, with a dark brown belly, black primary fur, and a beige mouth area, but they are bulkier than their normal counterparts, and their cheeks are puffed out more as a result of their heavier nature. While they might be incredibly common compared to many other types of Pokemon, it is this commonness that makes the members of the Rattata family an extreme nuisance to people and Pokemon alike as a result of the exceptional power their bites possess. Like some other rodents, these creatures are noted for their exceptionally large incisors, and these teeth grow at a constant rate. As a result, these creatures have to constantly gnaw on things in order to keep their teeth down, and if not in the presence of a trainer that has a file to help them out, these rodents will bite and gnaw on just about anything in order to get their teeth down to a manageable size. What makes this a problem is that their teeth are sharpened to a blunt point because of their constant gnawing, so they can deliver some nasty biting attacks that can more than leave a mark on others, and they in turn possess the strongest Hyper Fang attack out of any Pokemon family, and can more than prove to be a serious threat with it and moves like Crunch and Super Fang. This is made worse by the fact that Raticate naturally get access to the Swords Dance technique, and their fangs are powerful enough to chew apart cinder blocks and even concrete, reducing them to a fine powder in hours, made even worse by the fact that Raticate in particular have to keep their teeth whittled down, as their accelerated growing rate already makes it almost impossible for them to close their mouth normally. As a result of this, these creatures can readily prove to be an extreme nuisance when they are present in large numbers, and ultimately serve to make them a threat that can be a pain for even traditional exterminators to eliminate, as they are also far smarter than your average rodent, and have been known to readily escape traps that don't otherwise require the use of toxic chemicals in order to work. Their willingness to vacate an area when they sense danger, and resilience in the face of danger, is what allows these creatures to possess the runaway and guts abilities as base abilities, while those that are particularly rambunctious and show greater aggression than normal can also have the hustle ability as a hidden ability. On the other hand though, these creatures do possess unique Alolan variants with slightly different physiologies and behavior that results in them having hustle as a primary ability, while their gluttonous nature also grants them access to gluttony as a base ability, and their tendency to gorge themselves on food results in some further having access to thick fat as a hidden ability. As far as their stats are concerned, in the case of Raticate, while these rodents are definitely quite large and incredibly imposing to some, their overall powers are quite limited, and they do not have the physical resilience or defenses needed to make much of themselves in a serious fight. The only thing they have going for them in their normal form is a higher than average base speed stat for a fully evolved normal type Pokemon. Every other aspect of them, including in their Alolan variant, is below average for fully evolved Pokemon of the types. Even so, these rodents can prove to be a nuisance for the average homeowner, and definitely not something to take on with your bare hands alone. Rattata are the definition of a nuisance when it comes to their tendency to chew apart materials and make themselves a pest, as they will often live in large groups no matter where they sleep. There's even an old saying that states that if you find a single Rattata, there are likely 40 more nesting close to where they are. This penchant for nesting in large numbers is a defense these creatures use to protect themselves, as they are weak as individuals and need the numbers to stand a chance against larger creatures. Even so, they are generally quite jittery and on the skittish side, as even while they sleep, these creatures will keep their ears perked upwards and constantly moving around, alert and listening for any sort of disturbance. The moment they hear something approach them, they will quickly wake from their slumber and run away in droves, settling down only once the potential threat is no longer within earshot. Their ability to eat just about anything, even things as inedible as wood glue, can make them a terrible problem to deal with if an infestation is present in a house, especially since they are known for being able to reproduce in massive numbers in a very short period of time. They are thankfully easy to eliminate with well-armored Pokemon, as most of their basic attacks are unable to penetrate armor of any type, even in regards to most of their strong biting attacks, which are usually strong enough to bite through hard wood. The hardy nature of these rodents means that they can set up a nest anywhere where there is food, and as long as they can keep themselves from having their jaw cranked open permanently by constantly whittling away their teeth, they can more than make their presence known and ultimately prove to be a pain in the side of anyone that has to deal with them. It is duly noted that these rodents have an Alolan variant to them that is worth mentioning. Alolan Rattata are different from their normal counterparts in that they are primarily dark types, with their normal type attributes taking a secondary role, and this is in due part to the issues surrounding their creation in the Alola region. These creatures were once normal Rattata, but after the introduction of Yungoos and Gumshoos into the region in order to eliminate their massive population numbers and the extreme trouble they were causing in towns and cities in the region, they were forced to adapt to a nocturnal lifestyle, and in turn, developed the power to readily generate and process anti-positive energy, changing their forms in the process. These beasts, unlike their normal counterparts, are very picky about the kinds of food they eat, and will only go after fresh foods, gnawing through doors and sneaking into homes and using their whiskers and advanced smell receptors to sniff out fresh food and bring it back to their nest, where they, or the Alolan Raticate guarding and ruling the nest, can then feast on them. This has actually made the creatures sought after by cooks in the region, as they can easily sniff out the freshest of foods for them to use, and are effectively the same otherwise to other Rattata in other parts of the world, serving as both a helpful presence and a nuisance in the land they live within. Unlike their timid pre-evolution, Raticate are vicious customers that will gladly use their appearance and teeth to make themselves a serious threat if confronted. Biologically, these creatures share much in common with Rattata and thus follow similar behavioral patterns, but it is noted that their whiskers serve a useful balancing purpose that allows these creatures to stand on their hind legs. They need these whiskers to maintain their sense of balance, as their inner ears are not structured the way that most mammals are, and if these whiskers are cut off, these creatures become very lethargic and will not be able to move around much until they grow back. As such, they are highly protective of their whiskers and will bite anything that dares to touch them, even if it is meant as a friendly gesture. Moreover, unlike their pre-evolved form, these creatures are gifted swimmers thanks to the webbing on their hind feet, and have been known to cross streams, rivers, ponds, lakes, and even the ocean in order to get from one place to another, hunt down prey, or to otherwise escape from potential predators, which partially explains their prevalence on most parts of the Alola region. Moreover, while they do share much in common with Rattata, it is noted that they usually live in smaller groups than them in order to work out food requirements, since they need a lot in order to fuel their massive bodies, but this should not be taken as a sign that they will be easier to handle. In fact, it is quite the contrary, as these rodents are highly aggressive and will bare their teeth at anything that dares to get near them without their permission. This is often followed by them releasing a hissing screech as a form of intimidation before promptly biting with their massive incisors, which are so large that they keep these rodents from ever closing their mouth fully. This is not something you want to risk, as they can easily lop off hands that get too close to them with a single bite, and in turn act as a severe hazard that even most Pokemon won't want to get too close to, if only for the sake of their own physical safety. Much like their pre-evolved form, these creatures have an Alolan variant, though in their case, Alolan Raticate differs substantially from their normal variant in terms of behavior and powers. For one thing, these creatures are noticeably bulkier than their normal counterpart, as a result of them regularly gorging themselves on the highly nutritious fruits and plants that can be found in the Alola region, and this has affected their ability to battle. Compared to the normal counterparts, these variants show slightly decreased base attack and special attack stats, and a moderately decreased base speed stat, but make up for it with slightly increased base defense and special defense stats, and a moderately increased base HP stat. Their nocturnal nature also means that they can only really be active at night for the most part, and thus can only evolve at that time of the day. Moreover, instead of being active predators, These rodents instead form large posses of dozens of Alolan Rattata and have them go out and steal food for them, gorging themselves on the fruits of their labor and hoarding so much food most of the time that there really isn't any way for them to actually eat all of it. While this can make them look incredibly greedy, chefs in the Alola region actually value these rodents when they are domesticated, as they are able to use their advanced olfactory senses to detect the freshest of products and make sure that a chef is using only the best for their food. In turn, this helps to give them an actual place in Alolan society that helps to give them a better reputation than their normal counterparts, and ultimately prove to make the decision to remove one from an area a difficult one to make. So much so that one particular specimen serves as one of the totem Pokemon found on Melemele Island of the Alola region, and is definitely more than a formidable foe for beginning trainers. Though they may be an annoyance to no end for many people, the members of the Rattata family are still dangerous rodents that can easily put their teeth to good use to bite and whittle away at others not protected against their strikes. You might not wish to see them ever again once you've seen just how common they really are, but they are most certainly a common set of creatures that you'll have to get used to seeing a lot of on your journeys through the grassy plains and urban lands they dwell in. If you do manage to come across one of these critters, and you most certainly likely will at some point in your journey, just make sure to keep your distance and try not to put any soft limbs near their mouth. Rattata might only be able to leave nasty gashes and wounds if they unexpectedly decide to bite you, but if you get too close to a Raticate of any form at all, you'll quickly come to find out what it feels like to have to wear a prosthetic appendage after they literally go to bite the hand that feeds them. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description.
Yeah, no.
With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.